Thank you. Let's go to Georgia now. In Glenn County, a former Brunswick district attorney was in the hot seat today as witness testimony began in the trial against Jackie Johnson, who's accused of obstruction of justice in the 2020 shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery. Johnson is accused of using her position to protect gunman Travis McMichael, as well as his father Gregory McMichael, her former employee. The two men, along with William Roddy Bryan, a neighbor, were all convicted of murder and hate crimes in Arbery's death. Our Zach Wilcox is in Glenn County right now. He's at the courthouse. And Zach, you all heard from several witnesses today in the courtroom.
Yeah, Anthony, 3 witnesses took the stand. You had Arbery's mom take the stand and recount her tale about finding out about her son's death and trying to get more information after that. We also heard from a legal expert as well as an investigator who interrogated the suspects that day. And as you mentioned, really the role for the jury here is to decide whether or not the district attorney used her position of power to protect her former employee and his son, who were ultimately convicted.
Most importantly, I didn't know what happened to my baby.
Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, told the jury she spent weeks trying to figure out what led up to her son getting shot and killed. She started with Glenn County.
He went on to tell me that there was no case for Ahmaud Arbery in their office.
She says she eventually learned the district attorney in Ware County was handling the case, adding to her confusion.
If the crime occurred in Glenn County, why was it over in Waycross?
Cooper Jones learned there was some kind of conflict going on, which turned out to be that Greg McMichael, who was accused of starting the chase, worked for Brunswick District Attorney Jackie Johnson just a few months prior. Something McMichael brought up during his interrogation the day Arbery was killed.
I called Jackie and I left a message for her. I said, Jackie, my son, I'm involved in the shooting. Call me as soon as you possibly can. Although I'm not employed there any longer, I want her to know.
Johnson argues she handed the case off immediately when she learned of the conflict, something the defense asked a legal expert about before the jury.
That district attorney could voluntarily recuse himself.
That's correct.
What's wrong with that district attorney calling a non-conflicted prosecutor to say, can you please help out the police?
There's nothing wrong with that. That generally happens.
Cooper Jones feels she should have known about the conflict sooner.
I mean, it would have been very helpful that in the midst of them passing the case around, that someone should have called to let me know what was going on.
Now, if I had to sum up most of today, it was really about establishing a timeline for the jury, establishing what a conflict of interest is, and establishing what a district attorney's role is. So beyond what you heard there really wasn't much of a deeper dive into Johnson's role in this case specifically. So perhaps that's something that we'll hear as we move further and further into this trial. After all, today was just day 1 of witness testimony, and the judge expects it to take about 2 weeks. In Brunswick, Zach Wilcox, First Coast News, on your side.